right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Nana,
episode 37.
All right, that
They
letter.
grew up so fast. Soon they've flown the nest. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Nana and Hachi are split up in terms of living location.
Yep.
There's a lot keeping them apart emotionally as well as physically now.
But I don't think that means that she'll be ready to do anything differently.
Yeah,
you know?
it's going to take in some ways a pain center from the situation with Ren in order for things to change a little bit. And because of the paparazzi stuff and because of the way that she's been kind of veering off course just in general, and the way in which
The band is struggling because,
The band is kind of-
hey, you're not going to be financially successful, but we, of course we're not telling you that directly,
eventually somebody's going to get overwhelmed and
Yeah.
it's just going to be too much. So let's see how they all try to recover from this.
If they do.
If they can. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this.
部屋を見たとき、
Yeah.
この世に自分しかいない一人ぼっちの世界に迷い込んでしまった気がした。
Was it Shoji at the end of the opening there? Or is that,
Maybe it was just Nana in a different outfit?
待ってよ、何それ、めっちゃ寂しいんだけど。誰が引っ越したんですか？ナナちゃんだよ。なんでいきなり白金？
南青山、広尾、麻布。どれもそれは素敵な物件だったのよ。
高そうなとこばっかじゃん。
yeah.
私は最初からナナは白金を選ぶと思ってた。
なんで？
Yeah, why?
若奥様憧れの地。
Oh, it's very idyllic in that regard? Okay.
からには白金ーゼと呼ばれたいんじゃない。
Ah.
なんじゃそら。
And, the other issues with the dude.
とうとうジャクソンで飲む金もなくなったか。
ナ
Wow.
ナの玉のこしに乾杯。
なんだ、あんたに祝われ。
Chili!
100万の家賃払えるって、それどういう金持ちなの？
いや、70万だよ。
Oh, okay.
って説得したんだって。何も
Okay.
しっかりしてきたよ、ナナ。
母は強しってやつかな。
Wow.
70万
So,
十分高えよ。
so he's contributing $1 million, but 300,000 of it is going towards just the baby in general.
I guess, maybe?
I like the idea that they might still be in Nana's, like, Hachi's corner for, like, some elements, but
Yeah,
they're so...
Like, it's not like they'd want bad stuff to happen to her.
right. Okay, you gotta calm down, Junko.
Yeah.
Yep. Ah! Shoji actually remembers things
Yeah.
from, what she would say and stuff. So,
なんでついてくんだよ、お前は。
じゃあお疲れさん。いいじゃん、すぐ帰るから一目合わせてよ、ハチコに。
No.
匠もここに来るの初めてなの？ずっとスタジオに詰めてたし。
いや、契約の時一度見に来たよ。
そうなの？
周囲の環境と防犯システムだけでも確認しとかないと。
so, wow.
ただいま。
How much you want to bet that other place is going to be used for any mistresses he has?
Yep, that's exactly why. Somewhat,
Made sure
yeah,
to
actually.
show
yeah.
that to her.
In some ways, yeah, you are starting
Sure.
to seem a lot like...
うわ、どうしよう。ドキドキしちゃう。
頼むから長いすんなよ。
Yeah, just...
新婚初夜の邪魔するな。
別に新婚でも初夜で
Yeah.
もないじゃん。
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
や、こんばんは。可愛いじゃん、ハチコ。
満足したなら帰って。
Because she's a super fan too, you know?
Right.
Oh my god. Uh, uh. Right, right. Oh my god, she did make a spread.
Wow.
Oh, okay, okay.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, take that win, Hachi. Okay, nice, nice.
Oh.
Oh. Like, if this is her part, that's the fantasy, you know? I want her to kind of lose herself a little bit in it.
男が生まれたらどうすんだよ。
どうしよう。なんか当然女の子のような気がしてた。
じゃあきっとそうなんだよ。
それに女の子生まれるまで頑張ればいいし。
さーてと、じゃあ俺はそろそろ帰ろう。
Yeah, yeah.
フロントに言えばタクシー呼んでくれるから。
うん、お邪魔しました。ごちそうさま、ナナちゃん。
Ha.
でも来てくださいね。
Gochi-sama.
そんな完璧な奥さん目指さなくてもいいから。一緒に風呂でも入ってリラックスしよ
それ余計リラックスできない。
う。なんかお前痩せた
3キロほど。
Whoa, jeez.
いのつわり。
Yeah, yeah.
誰なんだ
3人。
女ばっかうわぁ、なんか怖えな。
別に怖くないよ。お姉ちゃんなんか
What a comparison.
電話でお母さんに
どこまで話したの？
結婚するかもって。
なんだよカモってで。
ママ？ママは
あらそうおめでとううまいことやったわね
その後すぐ電話がかかってきて、怒ってるというより呆れたように、このバカ娘がどののしられ、相手はどんな男だって聞くから、音楽関係の仕事してる人って答えたら、
カラオケ屋か？歌い放題だな。
I mean, I love that the family is.
には入籍の時報告のファックス流すことにしたから、下手に隠すより相手は一般人だからそっとしといてくれって釘刺しといた方がいいし。
Get in front of the story, control the narrative.
匠とハチコの新居に警察に行ったよハチコは可愛くていい子だし、匠はいつになく優しいし、あれならうまくいくんじゃない？もう何も心配。
I don't know.
ハート。
Yep, yep.
Oh my god. Although, not that he was planning on doing anything with you, but
No, but.
that's
I mean,
kind of call it
it's
princess.
safer also for the baby as well.
Right.
How are you doing, Hachi? Like,
Yeah. Now that everybody's gone,
yeah.
because there was that bit of hesitation when he like rang at the door.
Nana?
もしもし、ハチ
Oh.
別に用事じゃないんだけど、花火の日以来だし、元気かなと思って。楽しかったね、花火。
Oh.
Oh, like the shakiness of it.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna cry too, Hachi.
Way to go.
It's so hard to just figure out how to. Yep.
ごめんね、純ちゃん。おやすみ。
あった。
二度とその名前は口に出すな ノブにだって触れられたくないことの一つや二つ。
Yep. Yep. Uh-huh. Wow, yeah. He clued in, yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Travel to...
Yeah. In the first DD, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to play the guitar for someone.
Yep, yep. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Like, yeah, it was a bit abrupt, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Got to go see about a girl. One might say that.
Ren, you're so fucking cool, yeah.
Them both having guitars.
Yeah.
Need to
To
cry.
cry.
That's
Yeah,
dirty.
Yeah, that's really
dirty.
cool. Yep.
Wow. Ah!
これからもずっと
Okay.
何をそんなに悲しんでる？これは別れの手紙じゃなくて
Yeah.
熱烈ラブレター。
Yeah, it's her whole heart. Yeah.
But it's the I wasn't a good hero for you.
言ってやれよハチコに。
Oh.
喜ぶ顔が見たいだろう。
なんで私が行かなきゃならねえんだよ。理不尽だ。
ヒーローとはそういうもんだ。
Nice.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. Yep.
流し君こないだはごめん。
岡崎真一歌います。
Full name.
Yep. Full name.
And he's gonna play the song of
Wonderful.
your name.
Yep. Fuck, man. These are words unspoken because they're
I
from
know.
that narrator, kind of omniscient,
Oh,
past
okay.
focused perspective. All
Okay.
right. Okay.
That was just
Oh.
like it's see
Wow.
this show has put us through so much emotional torment, right? That this episode comes along and it's like, hey, it's gonna be all right. And that's I feel like what that breaks you in a different kind of way, you know? Like
Yeah.
it's like, oh, like yes, but also no. Like the fact that we can get the stuff with Takumi, where on paper, on the surface, everything is fine.
You just
Hachi is
have to
getting
have
her fantasy.
A quick hit on the head and just forget everything before this episode. Yep.
Yeah, exactly, right? You know, like, oh, there's that little hesitation, you know, when he calls where it's like, oh, now she has to actually put on the act, right? Yeah, but that's fine. She can laugh about it and stuff. It's great. You know, when he doesn't like the wallpaper that she put up, he rolls with it, you know, right? Like, you know, and it's going to be a girl. Okay, yeah, I start calling her princess, right?
All this is happening, by the way, while Naoki is here.
Yes.
I didn't miss the subtext that there was very clearly he was draining me. I don't know why, but maybe it's that when you're acting a persona, it's actually really hard to keep it up because,
And
it's not natural.
Almost to the point where you'd prefer to just be the lonely doll in the dollhouse by yourself, where at the very least you can enjoy your gilded cage, right? Like, yeah. And then in the midst of all of that, right, we actually get we actually got some decent characterization from Naoki, which I wasn't expecting, but okay, cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's doing this on behalf of Reira. That totally makes sense.
Oh, that totally makes sense.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
And then of course he's like, nope, it's all good. It's great. Like, you know, it's fantastic. And she's like, well, shit, you know. All right, okay, that's fine. That's just what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, there was one time when I had an in with a family member of someone that I liked.
I think I know.
And I was like, all right, I need you to let me know how things are going. And they were like, I got you. And it was just one of those moments where it wasn't as positive. It was more the like, I don't see it lasting a year. And I was just like, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It was just one of those moments where I was like,
I think I remember when that happened and you telling me about it, and you're like, Jacob.
I'm like, it's so fucking still pisses me off. Because then I think what ended up finding out was like 2 years after they broke up, a friend came to me and was like, you know, there was actually a bit of time where she was talking favorably about you.
God damn it.
And I'm like,
okay, that's something.
After I'd already been rejected and stuff, and you know, confessed and everything.
Yeah.
Like
Now,
that,
okay. Now, to be fair,
people change.
People change.
Yeah.
No, people change. And what that probably is the potentially warming up to the notion, but ultimately deciding against it. Right?
Yeah. But the idea of sending someone to be your spy, basically in that regard, that's so relatable.
All's fair in love and war.
All's fair, exactly.
Yeah,
like
right.
That. Like you're not crossing any like actual like you know boundaries in that regard.
But I'm just gonna say if you know the feelings do start to change or whatever, and the person's already confessed to you, do them the common courtesy of like, you know, going out on the limb to the same extent that they did.
I mean, you don't have to. You don't have to.
No, of course, it's still absolutely your choice. But
no, totally, because I've been in the other situation where I did confess to somebody. They ended up rejecting, and then 7.5 years later or something like that, they came back and were like, "Hey, is there any chance?" And I'm like, "That was a lifetime ago."
Yeah, no,
like it was like a.
Okay, let me rephrase that. Yeah. Not do something about it. Don't expect them to know that your opinions have changed.
Right, right, totally.
Yeah. But
hey, this episode, as far as things gave us here, the Takumi Hachi home life was really cute. Honestly, I can't deny the fact that it was actually really cute. The main thing about it is that understanding Hachi as a character is a really fun aspect of this show. Because, one, her character has been consistent in her specific dream, I would say, if you will, from the very beginning. All the way in the train, like, very beginning. She wanted to come here and basically chase that idyllic life of what society tells her she should be. And while the road here was very rocky, if you would say.
Oh, yes.
She might be able to convince herself that she got it. And the thing is that I hope in some ways that she's able to convince herself of that.
Yeah.
For at least a decent spell. She deserves, because she's a human being. I mean, the very human being, a little bit. She deserves a little bit of happiness.
Absolutely.
And I think that because of the way in which she didn't have a lot of agency in this situation here, getting something out of it will give her the ability to come back around to the point where she does have agency, and then she can make some really powerful choices. For now, the rough part about it is just the natural fallout of her small but extremely impactful decisions.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna make a reference to another character decision in a different show, even though the context is totally different.
Okay.
But
Go for it,
I hope Zuko enjoys his time in the Fire Nation. You know, like this is something that is not going to last.
Sure.
Right?
In her perspective, it's probably similar because
it's the thing
they
that
both see it as a betrayal.
Well, both see it as a betrayal, but then also it's the thing that she has wanted for so long that that the desire to want that has absolutely been pushed upon her.
That's a really cool
right?
comparison.
And so now
yeah.
this is the chance for her to actually experience it, right? And to know, is that actually what I want?
Right, because in some ways, I think that she could get just enough of it if, and this is the part that I don't have a high enough view of Takumi to put anything in here other than this, that if she's able to perform enough, Takumi will not be a problem.
Right.
And that's so gross.
Oh, it's absolutely gross.
It's absolutely gross. And even in his, like, you don't have to, pretend to be the perfect wife and all that, You don't have to put on all the airs and stuff. And it's like,
well, that's what you say when somebody else is there.
Right. Well, no. That was her, and that was him and her in the bathtub.
Oh, no. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right.
In some ways, that was the part where Takumi did the, like, kindness of basically being like, hey, I'm easygoing. This is the stuff you're dealing with your family. You can tell your friends and stuff. I'm doing the legwork on my end to make... I'm trying to do right by you.
Right, exactly. To talk about the things that Takumi did well in this episode, right?
Right.
The way in which, if not for all the ways he has demonstrated himself to be a piece of shit, right? We just look at the stuff in here.
Yeah.
Hey, this wasn't exactly a marriage for love.
Nope.
It's a marriage of convenience. We definitely have ways in which we do enjoy each other's company.
Yep.
But also, it's a material thing. It's a performance thing. It's all of that. We have an understanding of that. And so, as a result of that, hey, good job, one, with the performance you've been doing. Great.
I don't need you to do it all the time.
You don't need to do it all the time, right?
Like, that's
theoretically, if that was all
that's
it was...
That's a very good thing that I hope he's genuine about.
Right. Like, if not for all the...
Because they bonded in some ways over their imperfections.
Right. Like
they did, actually.
Imagine if it was something where...
Even though it was manipulative as fuck.
Right. But, like, imagine all the bad stuff didn't happen, and then here, Hachi felt comfortable being, like, actually being open with him about the feelings that she was having.
Right. I feel like I betrayed them.
Yeah, and, like,
I feel like I'm all alone.
It's still a mixed thing with the... Oh, right, this was very much a material marriage. I could see him totally understanding that, right? Like, and being
because
like...
I don't even think she's thought that far in terms of her strategic thinking. But
totally.
It is probably the subconscious thing that,
And the emotions well up from that.
But has her choose Shirogane as the prefecture, for instance.
Exactly.
Like, that totally tracks. And the idea that we got kind of that fun bit of exposition in that regard through Junko, Shoji, and
that was very helpful.
Kyosuke was a really clever way to do it because it's a way to show us, the audience, that now Shoji knows, but we also show what they don't know.
Exactly. And it feels like Junko is sort of turning a blind eye to all the things that she was literally bringing up in the conversation, Well, because now, okay, it's done, and so don't think about that, right?
Well, right. It's that part where Junko has a little bit of a... I don't want to go into, like, the specific types of, like, complex and what this is, but because I sometimes have trouble understanding Junko, but I think that there is a stress on the way that she doesn't have a good boundary set within herself for how she relates to Hachi.
Yes.
And thus she has that little bit of not holier than thou, but that little bit of unresolved condescension, and thus she can't emotionally empathize with Hachi.
Oh, okay.
Like she can't truly love Hachi, if that makes sense.
So, like, mind if I bounce off of that
sure,
something?
Yeah.
And tell me how much overlap you feel there is?
Okay, yeah.
That Junko's situation with Hachi was too much of a good thing. She looks after Hachi. She cares about her, right? Oh, okay, cool.
Right.
But then that turns to enabling, and it turns to something where basically then, oh my God, why do I have to, why can't you take care of yourself, right?
Right, yeah.
As a result of that, then, there's all this tension. The way that the conversation goes is the way it goes.
Yeah.
And then now that it's separated, there is still that desire to take care of Hachi.
Oh, yes.
even
Yes.
though she also does not want to be the one doing it, right?
Well, it's the difference between when someone maybe to just make sure I'm in line with what you're saying here. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think I get what you're saying, but basically that when someone in a kind of a relationship dynamic where there's clearly roles that people are taking on, the communication regarding those roles can actually be very unspoken.
Yes.
Because
You sort of
there's-
just fall into a pattern.
well, not just falling into a pattern, but if you were to actually poke at the roles, people would not like to accept the fact that
The
those
roles
are
prescribed.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
And thus, a lot of their relationship is built on a lack of communication.
Sure.
And missed expectations. The idea that
Right.
there's an intrinsic thing within Junko that she expects Hachi to always respect what she's saying, basically, because
Okay.
I know what's best for you.
Right. This is the dynamic
Right.
that I also don't like.
Yeah, but she feels good. Like, Junko feels good when Hachi does actually do that and stuff.
Right. And she feels good when Hachi feels good because she cares about her, right?
Oh, yes, for sure,
yeah.
for sure. But the way in which she can then not feel good when that comes about is that Junko has a need on some level to have Hachi actually be receptive and maybe adjust accordingly to this.
Right.
Because there's that kind of parental, I have claim over you a little bit. So if you're not doing...
Yeah, it's the why can't you take care of yourself?
Right.
Frustration. Also, why are you not listening to me? Why are you doing your own thing when I try and take care of you?
Right. Yeah.
Two kind of contradictory things.
Exactly.
Understandable, because on the one hand, it's like, apparently I'm supposed to take care of you, and you won't even let me do that.
Right.
It's
It's the angle that this episode goes into, which is, I would sum up this episode entirely as imperfect love.
Sure.
The idea that because we as human beings have all of our flaws and issues and stuff like that, love being this beautiful thing that is so nebulous and multifaceted that we can't fully encapsulate it, there are times where we touch upon it, but it's so beautiful that even then it's only for a moment. It's
Sure.
not something we can fully embody. Now, there are times where we get better at it, and there are times where we get worse at it, but all the characters had a moment in this episode where they tried to do what they could with their imperfect love. They acted in
Okay,
accordance with
I like it.
And then the burden at the end of the episode was put on Nana to basically be like, hey, everyone else is doing it. Everyone else knows what it is. They're doing what they can with it. It's your turn. You have not only your own imperfect love for Hachi, but she's receptive to it. She understands it.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's not even helpful some of the times.
Don't let yourself get confused.
It will never go away.
Right.
Yeah.
And don't let yourself get confused. That's not a goodbye letter. That's a love letter. I love that
Exactly.
Ren just sort of just comes in and says that. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like he's now
Because their love is mutual.
Right.
It's imperfect and it's mutual.
Yeah, exactly.
It's as clear as day. Ren sees it.
Yep, I
In
feel
fact,
like-
he's okay with it. What a guy.
I feel like for the most part, at least regarding the people that he is actually close to and cares about, I feel like he's sort of taken the Kyosuke role, now, of being like, I am the sensible person that can, like, give that timely piece of advice, but for the most part stays quiet.
To shift away from just defaulting to Kyosuke, I think
Sure.
in some ways the thing where I think you're right with this is that Kyosuke has a relationship with somebody else in the show that's active
Right.
and stuff, and that's what kind of connects Ren a little bit role-wise here. But I think to yes and this a little bit is that Kyosuke doesn't actively seek out solving all the problems in this way like Ren does, whereas someone like Yasu, for instance, is a little bit more like, my hands are in all the things.
Right. I'm a line cook, and
Right, but Ren is also, I would say, not here to give that like wisdom out to those that are outside of the Nana connection that he has here.
like the very small number of people.
Right,
Hence him saying the whole thing of like, why don't you just get with Reira to talk to me?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was Yasu though.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure that was Yasu. Are you talking about why when Takumi was suggested to sleep with Reira?
Yeah.
That was at the park meet. I'm pretty sure.
I thought that was Ren.
Oh,
could be wrong.
I'll go
Either
back
way.
and check.
Not important to the things that are being talked
totally.
about.
But either way, I think that Ren does have some comparisons there, but his efforts here are, I would say they're almost like a little bit more intimate and
sure,
less about wisdom, but more about like, hey, like you know what you're supposed to do, Nana. You don't need me in this instance.
Mind if I sort of
go for it? Yeah,
take that for a spin.
Yeah,
I think the reason why I see it as being wisdom kind of a thing is not because it's advice as far as here's what to do.
Yeah,
it's here's some insight into what this is, right?
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's that he's giving insight, right? Because Nana's in the middle of everything, right? So of course there's going to be that level of where she's not seeing things as clearly, whereas Ren, even if he doesn't know Hachi like that well, right? He knows Nana, and he knows how she's responded to all of this stuff that's been happening, right? And he reads the letter, and he's like,
they have years together, years
and also,
together.
He's able to recognize when someone's in love with Nana, right? Like that's where he has a lot in common with Hachi, even if they're completely different as far as pretty much everything else.
Sure, yeah.
And that's one of the other things that I also thought was just kind of cool, because it's like, you know, here we have the partner who is in a relationship with Nana, right? Who is then basically giving commentary and confirming that's a love letter in a show where, amidst all of the, you know, romantic complicated relationship drama, there's the underlying relationship, right? That's, you know, the main relationship.
Well, it's the
right?
main relationship,
yeah.
Absolutely.
And so that's like that was a pretty chill or pretty based move there, Ren. Like that was awesome. Good on you.
Yeah, good on you. I think that the idea of him like spitting facts is kind of nice to have in that regard. I think my point was just that because this is to be the equivalent of Kyosuke's telling this stuff to Junko,
sure,
it's way more intimate and quiet and kind of in the space. Like he's actually entering the space a little bit with Nana.
And he's coming into a place where Nana is actually vulnerable, whereas with Junko she's frustrated, right?
Or just in the idea that from Kyosuke to Hachi in that perspective there, it's kind of more like it's not even brotherly. It's more like, oh, like Hachi, are you sure? Like it's less confidently like,
sure,
what the fuck, Nana? Like, come on, you know what to do here. You're a hero, so come on, go be a hero. You can do it. It's something where it feels more confident because of the closeness, I think.
Sure.
I don't know.
The other thing that I just got to say, I really like the other badassery that happened this episode. I feel like was absolutely from Shin. That is the kind of like almost stupid levels of courage that only comes from both youth and love. Oftentimes both, you know, right? And the idea that he's like, hey, I just got my heart broken by this person who just actually was like...
She might not even realize how much that happened too. But because he understood the connection of the dots and everything there.
Right. It's the, gotcha, okay. Once more into the breach. Like, you know, like that... Wow. That was badass. Like, that was awesome.
Reminder, he's 15.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Right.
Because I feel like you get much older than that and you start to realize
this isn't worth it.
Nah, no, I'm not about that, Chief.
There's something to be said basically for the youth angle of it, because one of the things that makes the Hachi and Nana situation so painful is the reason why they're not communicating is because of the preconceived amount of pain that will come about through that experience.
Oh, sure.
Pain is the ultimate avoidance thing that is intrinsically born into all of us the second we touch the fire when we weren't supposed to touch the fire.
Right.
When you have a heart fire and it's constantly going on inside of you all the time, and then you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to go towards that actively with my guitar and be like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to burn. That's That's literally that's literally what Shin is potentially
It'll
doing.
be a hell of a show. That
It could have
put on
been. It
for
could have
one
gone
person.
way worse.
Oh yeah. Well, no. I mean, no. Let's be real. It's going to go way worse.
Yes, it will.
This is, you talk about the
Doomed.
well, no. The moments of
touching into perfect love.
touching into perfect love and what is otherwise imperfect love.
Yeah.
That's what we had here with Shin.
Yeah,
right?
he's not.
Way to go, my dude.
He's not doing anything that will give him any immediate like there's nothing selfish that he could gain really from this other than her good
desire to
her good
Right.
kind of graces in that regard.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly, because you
because she
care about
doesn't
someone
love
that
you.
much, you want to have them care about you too. There's
Right,
absolutely a selfish part of that, right?
Right. But
Yeah.
it's close to that. I'm just gonna do something that's gonna make you feel good tonight.
Exactly.
It's something that comes in parallel and contrast with the idea that Hachi genuinely wants to make Takumi feel like a prince when he comes home.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it is also a performance
Right.
because she has a lot of complicated feelings that she's going through right now. But
yeah.
part of her strength and her person is such that she can take that, put it in here and go, this is still in me right now.
And so here's
But I will need to put that aside for like it's impressive and it's also just so dysfunctional because I feel like that's where with age we get to that point where we're like, but you see the internal conflict, right?
Right. So I'm gonna go out on a limb here,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And this is just someone who is unmarried. So me talking about the potential,
Cool.
ramifications.
I'll bring the married
yeah.
perspective, even though I've only been married for a little bit. Yeah.
If there was no fear in that relationship, and the fear is as a direct result of Takumi's actions, right?
Yes.
But if the fear was not there, then there is no reason why that couldn't be the foundation of their own little unique dynamic
Yes.
that could then even turn
Yes.
into actual love.
Yes.
Problem is, it's not going to because,
Well, it could. It most
well,
likely
Well,
won't.
okay.
I hate being that guy.
Okay, no, sure.
I hate being
yeah,
that
the
guy.
question of, it's you
Again,
can absolutely
imperfect love.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the part, that's the rub, and why I love this show so fucking much is that for whatever reason, and I love that when romances actually get into this, they get into this and they get into it hard, is there's this point where you lose the notion of the fairy tale.
Yeah.
I don't know when it happens or how it happens, and I don't think there's any formula to discover this. But if you ever have had the notion of fairy tale love, basically what Hachi has always dreamed of and always wanted, to the point of a Japanese-specific focus of that dream love of she wants to be a Shiraganese, basically,
yeah.
which is like, she wants to be the equivalent of the Japanese trad wife,
Right,
and
but like
it's-
high society, high
not
status
even,
trad wife.
Not even that, just a specific flavor,
Yeah,
her own
yeah.
specific flavor, and she's getting that, and
Awesome.
awesome! Isn't it fun to have stories where the characters get what they want and they realize at
There's
some
a razor
point,
blade
way
in this.
later, or not a razor blade, it's just,
Yeah.
I have it.
Yeah.
This is the part to bring the married perspective into this.
Sure.
here, is that I am a human being just like Hachi.
Right.
All of us are. That's the point. Is
Yeah.
that you are going to have a point where you get what you want. And you have to make something of it because it's not going to be exactly what you want, but it's going to be maybe so goddamn close that you're going to, in some ways, be able to see like, oh my God, wait, it's actually more than what I wanted.
Sure.
Because I'm now in it and I can see all the multifaceted parts of it. In some ways, the fact that it's cracked in these areas causes this extra definition and special thing to it that you would have never known if it was this flawless, perfect diamond.
It's the flaws in the diamond. It's the, the fan theories in your head will always be better than whatever script, gets given for the episodes or the movie or whatever.
It's the fact that we don't see things even clearly, that we see things through our own limited perspectives.
Right, 'cause otherwise
that
how-
allows us to discover and explore things. Now, this is assuming you have at the very least a healthy dynamic. Hachi and
This is
Takumi
not.
are not in a healthy dynamic.
No.
But the really wild thing is that Hachi and Takumi's dynamic here is not some like, oh, it's so unique. It's so this is the worst relationship in the history
it's so
of relationships.
fundamentally awful the entire way through that, like, we want to make sure you know that Takumi's a bad guy just in case that wasn't clear,
Right,
No,
but then,
he's a shitty person, and you can show us times of him actually being decent, right? Or
Yes.
even good, and that doesn't change that he's a
Doesn't
really
change
shitty
that.
person.
Yeah. But then you have time. You have actually the experiences that they share. You have the perspectives on those experiences. Hachi could theoretically go to bed at night for the next year or maybe even more with a happy smile on her face that is genuine.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I don't think that I don't think that this show is going to let us, just kind of forget about.
Right.
We're going to have the facets of this cracked thing be explored.
This is
how painful the process of all that actually is.
This is a fully legitimate option in that Hachi could absolutely pick this and maybe, that, like, from her own perspective, it's like, yeah, things aren't that bad. I'm actually, this was maybe a pretty good call. Rough patches for sure, but good call. AKA, I'm going to stay in it. I'm not going to leave it.
Right.
That could absolutely happen. That is believable for that to happen.
In fact, I think that this episode, from a meta standpoint, is actually preparing us for a legitimate wedding.
Oh no, I absolutely think that's going to happen.
Right. Myself 10 episodes ago or what have you didn't think we'd make it to the wedding.
So here's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Wedding, absolutely. Takumi has a vested interest in this going well and all that stuff, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But, forever's a long time. And that other apartment, that's going to stay there.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to bring other ladies there. Maybe even the assistant that, like he made the remark to, at the studio, things like that.
He's going to stay the same. There might be some ways in which, for the sake of, I would say, actually just writing a more complex story, I don't think he's going to stay exactly the same, though.
Sure.
I think he's going to be somewhat more complex than that.
Right. Because on top of all of this, you still have the regular thing of in marriage, over the course of your life, people change, and so you got to make sure you change together.
You take on aspects of each other.
Sure. And that's on the foundation that isn't very good of, what we have here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can see already the many ways in which, thankfully, in some ways, Hachi's own fairy tale will be potentially the reason for this relationship's undoing at some point. But I feel for her the day in which it will come about, because it will be it won't be a smash of a glass, falling to the floor. It will be the slow, drawn out, cracking in the, glass.
Well, yeah, because it's the,
travels
she already
all the way
knows
down.
it's the fantasy. That part has already been shattered, right?
Oh, yeah,
But
exactly.
it's the, hey, but I can
do something with this.
I can still make something with these broken pieces. I can still paint with this. I can still make that house of cards, even if it fell down the one time. And I know that it'll fall down again.
Exactly. People can make mistakes in love or not give perfect love, and it can still be received as love.
And that's why it's, I assume that's why it's hard to leave somebody when you're in a bad situation, because you need to make sure you have that line where it's if it's past this, it's bad, right? I get out, right?
Right. But that's the thing where people will basically collapse the things into it's only that. Most expressions of love, and I mean the lion's share, are in that wide gap in the middle. There's not a fine line between perfect love and, toxic love. It's a wide spectrum between there. And the thing is that while Nana's relationship is not necessarily the toxic worst relationship ever. Takumi is a toxic motherfucker. So he's going to poison the effect of it unless, he does some crazy change and transformation over the course of time.
If Naoki was not present and they had all those same interactions, I would be a lot more optimistic.
Yes, I think this is, in that regard, that's where it's one episode.
Yeah, exactly.
We've seen that little bit into their dynamic, and
but at the same time, I appreciate that because we had some very uncomfortable episodes.
Right, we did.
Where it's like, that's too much for me. Holy shit. Yeah. How do I stay emotionally invested in what's going on when so much bad shit's happening? Can we also at least get the happy fairy tale fantasy for a bit, if nothing else than just to make it so that Hachi isn't suffering as much, right?
Right.
While we're on board for the journey.
And we saw that.
Yeah.
We saw that. That's what it looks like.
Awesome.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. Because then we have the other person in the nightmare being like, no, I'm alone. I don't have anybody. This room, I'm spinning. I'm lost.
Yeah.
Ren comes in and goes, you realize she's basically confessing to you, right? Like this is a love letter. This is Hachi's imperfect love. This is her way of saying, I'm always going to be on your side.
Yeah.
Just like Shin said, no matter what.
Right.
No matter what. No matter who I fall in love with, you'll be my hero.
And my only hero.
Right.
No one can ever take that.
That's the promise of the show, basically saying that nothing can truly sunder the connection between these two women.
Right.
Even their own imperfections and flaws there.
Which are something.
And that right there is love. That's unconditional love. Yeah. There is something special about the ways in which when people acknowledge, accept, look directly at the flaws of somebody and go, I don't need to be Junko and yell constantly at you to fix this shit because I can't love you, or I can't be kind, or I can't give you the support emotionally until you figure this shit out. Now, there's always room for tough love in the right context with the right verbiage and the right way to do this here. But there's something really special about someone like Shin who doesn't really know the situation, who doesn't have any kind of special insight, or even really know what he's even talking about.
Sure.
The guy's fucking 15 and just is like, I know it's not perfect, but here's my love. I will be on your side no matter what.
Here's my heart. Cozy up to it if you want.
It's a little stupid. It's a little fairy tale. It's also not true. There's going to be some point where he's not, perfectly on her side, where he's, not doing things maybe.
Or he realizes.
Or he has to choose to be on somebody else's side for some time and stuff like that.
Or he realizes he does actually need her to be on his side a bit, right?
Yeah,
that doing that for a night, cool. That's not something he can do as a, long-term thing. Yeah.
And that right there is basically what, in my opinion, is the beauty of a relationship, built on that kind of communication. From my case, I've just got married, is the idea that we're on each other's side. There's an element of where we decided that when things are, tough, when things are, tricky, when the communication
this is written in stone. That is
right. We are on each other's side no matter what.
Yep.
Because we know we're not going to have perfect love 100% of the time. But on your side, absolutely. Right. Absolutely. And
that is an immutable, unshakable fact.
Right. And that's the thing that doesn't come about by, it doesn't come about by just writing it down. It comes about it comes about in the moments when it's really tough to do it.
Yeah.
It's in those moments where someone has to make the first move. And it sucks, Nana. It really does suck that you are being asked basically to make the next move.
Well, yeah.
There's all the who should move first and all that, but the fact that you could make a move here
Well,
and your tears could reach her, and all your imperfect love and all that. It
oh,
really
right. Oh,
could.
that's what you're talking about. You're talking about Nana, right?
I'm
yeah.
talking about Nana. Yeah,
See,
yeah.
in here, I'm just thinking, with all the stuff about imperfect love, it's like, yes, that's absolutely a part of it. Yes, yes, yes. And then just hope that, the person that you're doing that with isn't Takumi.
Oh, yeah.
Like...
Takumi's a whole other bag of cats.
Yeah.
But, okay. Really great plot development.
Great episode.
But even better hope and catharsis amidst this. So
Good luck.
Good luck. And thank you all so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel. So if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.